Flosstube friends, it's Stephanie here, Ms. Oh So Crafty. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. This is my Flosstube video number 71. Today is Wednesday, December 4th, 2019, and it's been a long time. I missed you guys. It's just been a very busy fall. There was back to school, there was October, which had some travel and a lot of social things, a retreat, and then November was Stitchy Games. That was pretty crazy. I was stitching around the clock. So here we are in December, and I'm back at last. So I have a lot of things to share with you, but I'm going to try to go through it, at a reasonable pace. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about, how long I spent on this project or that project, just because I don't necessarily know, because it was so long ago that I filmed. So how about we start with finishes. So the first one I want to share is Hobbit Menu by Fiddlesticks AU on Etsy. This is stitched on Salem Cashel by Color and Cotton. It's a really pretty grayish, purplish color, very much like a dusty chalkboard. And I stitched it with DMC using some conversion colors. I think the first 4 lines are per pattern, and then the rest of it was my conversion. So we got breakfast, second breakfast, 11 C's, luncheon, afternoon tea, dinner, and supper. This was really fun to stitch. It only took 4 days. Now they were long days, but words and stuff. It did stitch up pretty fast, although some of the color conversions did give me a little bit of trouble, and this one especially, the supper, it just wasn't, I wanted like a twilight blue for it. It didn't stand out enough though off the fabric, so when I was done I actually backstitched it, and I love how it looks now. It's almost like a sign glowing in the darkness, so I'm very pleased with how that turned out. My next finish I want to share is a mini on a big piece of fabric. This is what it looks like. So this is the Winter White Sleigh from the new JCS magazine, and it is by Fireside Originals. This took 2 days to stitch. Well, a partial, I guess, 1 day really. They were partial days. It's not very many stitches, about 700 I think, and it is done in Beef 5200 and Krynic 01HL, so high luster silver. And the sleigh is just solid white, and then the metal bits are the silver, and the back stitching is done in the silver, and so is the little star eyelet detail on the sleigh itself. And it's stitched on 32 count Belfast and Ruby Wine by Zweigart. So I got this piece to do like a large, it's a 5/4, but I realized that the pattern that I bought for it is not going to require the whole bit of fabric because it's really not that big. So I decided that I will be cutting off 5 or 6 inches or whatever on this side to do some ornaments. And it is a beautiful Christmas red. This is the first time I've ever stitched on red, and it was a little bit different, but I enjoyed it, and I think it looks awesome with the white, so very pleased with that. Okay, the next finish I want to share is another small one, and this is actually part of my haul. So this is a piece of Antique White by Zweigart. You can see the orange. Yeah, that's the little telltale mark of Zweigart fabrics, that orange woven into the selvage. Anyway, yeah, I got this at the Stitching Post in Catonsville, Maryland, and I just decided I wanted to go simple for the Scary Apothecary series. So that's what this is, Cauldron Cleaner by Hands On Designs, Kathy Haberman. And it is, actually it's not entirely finished. I realized that one of the cats is missing the end of his tail. Anyway, so antique white linen, as I mentioned, and it is a mix of the hand-dyed fibers that are called for and DMC. So it calls for a bunch of classic color works, The orange is the Classic Colorworks is called for, the pumpkin something or other. And the cats are Zach Black. Some of the colors that were called for, though, well, first I looked at the pattern. I was like, well, I'm only going to buy the floss that I see in the chart that's variegated, right? So, I mean, you look at this close up, nothing really seems terribly variegated, eh? Except for maybe this little cauldron down there. When I went to the store, I picked out the floss that I had decided to use, and some of it looked completely solid, so I didn't buy it. For example, the lighter gray, I think it was River Rocks by Classic Colorworks. At least the ones they had at the store there were completely solid, so I looked for a lighter gray and Weeks instead, and I found this one. It's some galvanized tin or something. I think that's actually probably the most variegated floss that's in here. And the chart actually calls for some backstitching to go over the cauldron, but it completely obscured the pretty variegation in there. So I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. There's some Kreinik as well in the purple. I think I actually messed up in terms of using what colors I used for some of the details, but it doesn't matter. I like how it looks, so I'm looking forward to stitching the other parts of it. So this is what I did. I drew lines on the reverse in pen. I divided it into thirds each way to come up with 9 pieces, and then I drew X's very subtly to mark the centers. And you can see that the piece is way small enough to fit 1/9 of a fat quarter. Her website suggests that you need a heck of a lot more fabric, and I think that's if you're using like individual pieces and you want to put it into a 8x8 Q-snap or whatever, but if you want to do them like on a scroll frame or whatever, like I am, you can get by with a fat quarter, sorry, a fat quarter for the entire series. Hello, Stitchy friends. Welcome to the Oh So Crafty Finish Files. I'd like to present my spooky house, FFO. So happy this piece is finished. It was a long time coming to fruition. About 2 years, 60 days over 2 years, and when I was very close to finished, I was keen to get a frame for it because I wanted to bring it to Stitch Fest, my retreat, which was the 3rd week in October, and I looked online, I looked locally, I couldn't find anything. I had something pretty particular in mind. I wanted a detailed kind of dark, black kind of gothic looking frame. Eventually I found this one at Michael's in the open back section. It is a solid wood frame. It's extremely heavy. It's 16 by 20 inches, and it cost $37, and that was half price. It was on sale. Alright, so back to the stitching. The pattern is by X's and O's Designs, and it's called Spooky House. It is a haunted house, obviously. There's a lot going on in this pattern. Lots of detail, so there is areas of fractional stitches, lots of fractional stitches. There's a face at the door. You can see the eyes and the mouth or the nose. And there's another face up there, the eyes and the mouth. And there's a face in the tree and womanly curves. And a couple bats. Those are really cute. So the chart calls for lots of blended colors. I guess if it were a modern pattern, it would probably call for hand-dyed, but the blended colors certainly get it done, gives it that lovely depth and everything. So lots of metallics in this. The big one is the moon, of course. You see that sparkle? Oh, it's so pretty. I love the moon. I used PB10 for it, Rainbow Gallery Petite Treasure Braid. I opted to use that instead of the Kreinik that the pattern calls for because PTB has much better yardage, so it's more cost effective, and I didn't care about having glow-in-the-dark moon or whatever, so I found this lovely moon glow kind of color, the PB10, and I used 5 cards of it, which was a lot better than 10 to 15 spools of Kreinik, in my opinion.
And since this is 32 count fabric, I was able to use it, the PTB single-stranded. PTB is thinner than Krynic, but for 32 count it works. For 28 I might use 2 strands, but yeah, for this it's fine. So the fabric is a 32 count hand-dyed Belfast vintage silk weaver. It is gray with some purple marbling. It is very pretty. One of my original first purchases of hand-dyed fabric many years ago, so it's definitely vintage, old stash. This in fact was my old stash new start from 2018. Yeah. Anyway, so the pattern is pretty big. It takes up, well, most of a fat quarter. And it is mostly full coverage. And it has a lot of backstitching. So there's backstitching on the gravestones. See you later, Ted and Buried. R.I.P. All the architectural details are of course backstitched. The balcony railings are backstitched and back to the metallic. So in addition to the PB10, which I used for the moon, I also used 2 shades of Krynic, silver Krynic for the poles there and the railings, and then gold Krynic, which you can see a little bit in the windows and the torches by the door. Some of the cool details, this little guy in the window here with the spider and the spider web. A little hand reaching around the corner of the house. 2 ghosties up here in the windows. The bats. The tree. Oh my gosh. So a lot of backstitching on that tree. It actually called for black to do all the backstitching. And I did use black to outline the tree and the big tree branches, but for all the little branches, I didn't like the way the black looked. I thought it was just a little too stark against the moon, so I used 3371 black brown, and I'm very happy with how that looks. It is perfect in my opinion. So, not to say my piece is perfect. I'm sure there's a few personalizations here and there, and this I guess you could say is one. So the grass, it calls for DMC variegated avocado, and it has a really long color repeat, so I cut a length and I did all this stuff, and it's like this light, green color. And then I cut another length and I did all this stuff, and it's a darker green color. And I don't work with really short, floss lengths. I usually cut like about a yard to work with, so that was kind of annoying, but I can just go with it because, well, this grass is underneath the moon, so of course it's brighter, right? And this grass is over here in the shadow of the house, so it's darker. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So this piece was a bucket list, project for me. I really wanted to stitch it ever since I first saw it on a blog many years ago. And I'm really glad I finally got around to it, and I'm so happy to have it framed, and I can't wait to hang it up. All right, see you back in the main video. Ta-ta!
Okay, so the last info I want to share is my conversion of Gigi and Anna by Nora Corbett. So here are Fleur Delacour and Ginny Weasley, converted by me. So the one that I finished most recently is over here. This is Ginny with her little pygmy puff Arnold and her red hair and her Gryffindor sash scarf thing. Really pleased with how that came out. It's on NYX 32 count Lugano by Leslie at Under the Sea Fabrics. And I think they go really well together. Alright, let's get into whips. So I'll start with the thing I've been working on most recently, and that is Save the Stitches. So this is a free chart by Elizabeth Almond of Blackwork Journey. It is in 24 pieces on her website. So here is the whole thing. I'm using 25 count Lugana in Stormy Gray, I think it is. The parts that I've done most recently are Part 9, part 10, part 11, and then 12 is the one at the bottom with the diamond shapes and the more open patterns. And then I made a little baby start over here on part 13. So I'm using DMC Floss 336 navy blue for the outlines and the border, and 4240 variegated for the filler patterns, or diaper patterns as they're referred to in the pattern. I'm very happy with how this is coming out. I know in my last video I said that I was going to try to do more, but I changed my mind and decided that I'd stick with 12 parts for this year, and so I met my goal as initially established at the beginning of the year, and that's good enough for me. Basically what happened is I wound up doing a lot of new starts this fall, and yeah, it is what it is, right? So the next one I want to show you is a new start. This is Batty Belinda by Brooks Books, and I started her for a silly reason. I needed a piece with a necklace, and she does indeed have a necklace, although it's not stitched on her yet. I have been having just kind of a hard time with this, but I did put it on my little balsa frame, so hopefully it'll go a little easier going forward, because I can put it, on my stand or whatever. All right, the next thing I want to show you is Spring Bell Pull by Stony Creek. There's no way I'm going to be able to get this all in the frame at one time, so I'm just going to do like a little slide. Lots of floss kind of hanging around, but there's not too much to see in the N and G blocks anyway. So the ones probably that I've done since my last video are the R block, Renew. That one was a pain in the rear with a lot of color changes. And then I for Inspire. So this is stitched on 18 count and cloth, 100% cotton. I got it from Stony Creek. And I put another piece of it on my Christmas list so that I can stitch another one of these bell pulls next year, because I'm a glutton for punishment. So, during the Stitcher Games, I worked, I finished off this block, and then I stitched these two basically in the space of 24 hours. During the Stitcher Games, I achieved a couple personal records. The top one was I did 5.2K stitches over 28 hours on one occasion. I don't recommend that sort of thing. I don't think I'll ever do it again. I probably won't do the Stitcher Games again. There were some aspects of the game that I just didn't think were fair, shall we say. So, yeah. Anyway, we don't need to talk a whole lot about that, but it was nice to get a head start on these blocks, and I did realize that I don't have quite enough of this Water Lily Silk Floss, the budding leaf, to finish it. There's a little bit more that needs to go in the N and a little bit more that needs to go in the G, so I did ask for another skein of those as well. And then this little patch over here was just my sort of experiment to see how long it would take to stitch 500 stitches in just simple rows, and the answer was 75 minutes. And it was kind of like the middle of the night, so maybe not my optimal situation or whatever, but yeah, I need to rip that out, but yeah. It counted at the time. I guess that was part of the 5,200. All right, moving on to Prancer. I have not really worked on this a whole lot in the past couple months, so it may look exactly like it did last time you saw it. I don't really know. It's stitched on 32 count Belfast opalescent in a pewter colorway by Picture This Plus, and the pattern is by Nora Corbett from her Christmas Eve Couriers series. So this is Prancer. I think I mentioned, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so this is going to be one of my finished goals for this month. I'm probably going to work on it, maybe even today. I think I can use it for most of my homework for the week. I haven't really done much, if any, homework this week. A stitchy homework. And it's Wednesday, so I guess I better get on it. I have been reading a lot, though. I've read like 5 books this week so far. Or 5 books since December 1st. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so here is another new start. This is the Gingerbread Boy ornament from this magazine, JCS 2019. The pattern is by, gosh, I can't remember. Well, there it is, Medina Originals. This is stitched on 28 count opalescent casual that I got at Stitching Post, and it's almost done. It was like 1,100 stitches or something over a couple days, or one day. I just need to finish the back stitch around his whole body, essentially, in the dark brown. I think I'm going to have to double up. You can see it more on the video, his arm there holding the candy cane, but it's very hard to see in real life, so I'm probably going to double that area to make it a little bit more, easy to see. And the reason why I stitched him in the corner of the fabric like that is I'm hoping to get another ornament over here. Yep. That was fun. And I'm going to personalize this for my son. I'll just have his name and the year on there. Okay. Next book I want to share is the Gingerbread Grove by Glendon Place. This is stitched on 28 count casual in the Haven colorway by Picture This Plus, which is actually the fabric that it calls for. So I haven't actually worked on this a whole lot recently, in the past 12 months anyway, either. I did work some on this house and this reindeer, that tree, the pathway, and this other house over this lollipop tree here, and that one, and this house is started. This is the edge of the pattern. So, sorry, Flosstube itchy nose. Yeah, this is a lot of fun to work on. I'm just kind of frustrated with it though because it calls for all this Krynic that I've ordered, but I got my order and the particular Krynics I needed were mostly back ordered, so yeah. But it's coming along, and I would love to work on it this month, but I don't really think there's any point until I get more of the Krynic, so I may or may not. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, here's another new start. So this is Fairy of the Rainbow by Joan Elliott. It's her latest pattern, I think. Anyway, so it's on a very old fabric of mine. Blue Diamonds, Opalescent Belfast by Silk Weaver. It's very old, like 15 years old maybe. So this chart has like 10,000 stitches or something in it already. Quite a lot. I worked on it a lot during the Stitcher Games because it does have, those blocks of color. So it's coming along. This is the bottom half of the chart basically. I need to fill in, well, all the blank areas that are mostly like the highlights done in the yellow and orange tones. And I need to fill in, I ran out of some DMC, so yeah, I ran out of one of the lighter purple tones, or 2 of the lighter purple tones, so that has to be filled in. But I love working on this project. It's probably my favorite whip now, and I love the fabric. The the sparkly, opalescent Belfast, very pretty. Perfect sort of blue sky fabric. Cloudy blue sky, maybe. Alright, here is my full coverage piece. Twilight Bridge by Dimensions. This one also has a lot of part thread. There we go. So this is stitched on 18 count Aida that came in the kit. It is a fine fabric to work on. I guess it's kind of just depends. It's the luck of the draw with those kits. Some of them the 8 is decent, other times it's not so much. My advice would be to do a little test stitching and see if you like the fabric before you actually get started on it. So this one I worked on, I've basically just been like working my way to the left, and I did work all the way over to the left edge of the chart, although it's not filled in, obviously. It's very patchy. It's crazy confetti, and most of it is half cross, so in terms of all the challenges where you count your stitches, it only counts for half, which is good and bad. I mean, it takes longer, but because you're doing twice as many stitches, and it doesn't really go any faster. The half cross doesn't go any faster than the full cross because you're doing the half cross with 4 or 5 strands of floss in your needle on this 18 count fabric. So it's a lot of floss that kind of has to be wrestled through the fabric, and it has to be done in a sort of careful manner so that the stitches lie nicely. I actually think that the regular cross stitch that's done, 2/1 goes a lot faster than the half cross. But it's coming along, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish it next year. All right, here's another new start. This is We Do Harry Potter by Stitch Area on Etsy, although I don't think it's available in her current shop. It's stitched on 28 count casual in antique smoky white, and it is like tissue paper thin. You can't really tell in the video, but it's kind of annoying to work on because it is so thin. I can't carry the thread at all. I'm using Water Lilies, Dark Shadows, and I pretty much used up the first skein on this top half of the pattern. So I did get another skein, and I'll be working on it a lot this month because I want to finish it. In fact, I'm going on a trip, and I intend to take this one with me because it's only one floss color, and maybe I'll be able to finish it on my trip. We'll see. So it says, so far in this house we believe in magic, we cast spells and free house elves. We solemnly swear we're up to no good. We use our brooms for flying, not sweeping. We board the Hogwarts Express at platform 9 3/4. We don't forget to live, and we pity those who live without love. We know it's a beautiful place to be with friends. So this chart has all these like little pictorial elements as well as the text, and most of them have needed modification, in my opinion. Like this one is modified to make his face look more Sorting Hat-like. The sword was modified to make it look more like a sword. This element, I put in the owl before. I think it might have been like a Dementor or something, but I looked at it and I showed it to my husband, and neither of us could figure out what it was supposed to be. So for the broom, I used satin stitch for the straw. This is supposed to be a wand over here. I did a lot of half cross to make it, not half cross, petite point, 1/1, fractional stitches to make it more straight, I guess. The Deathly Hallows symbol, I think, needs some of that. Either fractional stitches to make it more smooth, or perhaps some back stitching or something. I don't know. I don't like the way it looks right now, though. I think it looks too blocky or whatever. Okay, do you want to see some of my haul? So here's something. 2017 JCS. I wanted it for this one pattern in here by blend in place. Let's see. It's kind of a sarcastic pattern. Page 35. When you stop believing in Santa, you get underwear. I think that's really cute. There's a lot of cute patterns in here. I like these a lot too. The Sharon Pope Classic Ornament Trio. You know me, I like that classic stuff, vintage type stuff. I also got this one, the 2019. I've heard so many people say they don't like this issue. I think it's one of the best in years. I've already done this one, and the gingerbread house is almost done, and those aren't even my favorites out of this magazine. My favorite is, well, I like this one a lot, the one by Ursula Michaels, the bell with all the words. I think that's cool. But my favorite one is, and I like the one by Arlene a lot. That's one of my favorites. Arlene Cohen works by ABC. My absolute favorite is this one. Have a Holly Jolly Christmas by Tiny Modernist. I think that's really cute, and I love the song. The original, well, the version that I like, I'm not sure if it's the original, but the version I like most is by Burl Ives. Okay, so I finally got my PTP order from Dreama. When she does a PTP sale every year in June, and I got the fabric in October. This is Sand, Crystal Belfast. And I got it to copy my friend Tess. Sorry, Tess, if you're watching. But she's using this fabric for her My Christmas List by Silver Creek Samplings, and I think it's perfect, so I wanted to do the same. And then the other the other fabric I got in that sale was Heather. This is Belfast, and it is like a purpley yellow. I am thinking I may use this for Joan Elliott Rapunzel. I need to floss toss and see though. Alright, here's something I got from Katrina at Stitch Fest. It's a little snow globe ornament by Mill Hill. I love snow globes and I think that's really cute. Santa Claus in there. Something else I got from her is In Praise of the Needle. This is a Works by ABC pattern. In praise of the needle, to all dispersed sorts of arts and trades, I write the needle's praise that never fades, so long as children shall be got or born, so long as garments shall be made or worn, so long as hemp or flax or sheep shall bear their linen woolen fleeces year by year, yea, till the world be quite dissolved and past, so long at least the needle's use shall last, by John Taylor, 1631. So, I like that. Here is something I got from my LNS, Cookies by Cricket Collection. My friend and I purchased a fabric to stitch it on. Yeah, this fabric is, this pattern is kind of wide, but it's not very tall as you can tell, so you need like a fat quarter of the fabric to stitch it on, but of course you're not going to use the entire fat quarter, so yeah, we're going to cut that fabric in half, and she'll get the top half and I'll get the bottom half or something, so yeah. Alright, let's see. This one was, I found at Stitching Post. It's a Mill Hill kit, Skating Reindeer, Richmond. They had it as a model at the shop and I thought it was really cute. This one, it comes with Aida. I don't think I'm going to be stitching it on the Aida just because there's some fabric exposed in there and I really don't like using Aida for things that aren't full coverage, but yeah. And I think that's about it for my haul. Some of the haul that you saw, like in terms of my new starts and everything. So mainly what I've been ordering recently is Kreinik and stuff just to complete the patterns that I already have on, on the go. So here is something that I got at Stitch Fest, and this is a project bag with a clear vinyl front, and it was made by Crafty Kim. Hello, Kim, if you're watching. I love it. I think it is so pretty. It's a nice roomy bag, and it has a little beaded star zipper pull. And this pattern is just, the fabric is just so cute, isn't it? With the black cats and the smiling ghosts and the little haunted houses and the witches on the broom and all that. I love it. And then she kitted up this pattern inside. So it's a Preparing for Winter parishioners. I think it's a freebie. And she included this lovely platinum Ada 18 count by Zweigart. And the DMC floss to do it too. So Stitch Fest was a blast. It was at the Embassy Suites in Herndon, Virginia, and we had a lot of fun. Did a lot of shopping between, well, my friend Christine flew in a few days early, and we did some tourism type stuff, and we went to Stitching Post in Catonsville in Baltimore. And after the retreat, we did some shopping at the retreat, of course, and then after the retreat, we went to my LNS in Stitches in Alexandria, Virginia. So yeah, I spent a lot of money that weekend. I think it came up to like $130 or something. Fortunately, I have a lot of finishes to kind of balance out the Stitch from Stash budget. So Stitch from Stash is kind of exploding, I think, because of Melanie of Soulful Stitching. Hi, Melanie, if you're watching. She wanted to bring Stitch from Stash into Year of Whips 2020. So Stitch from Stash is part of it now. You have to be a member and participating in the challenge in good standing, basically meaning you finish both halves of the year in the green to participate, fully participate in Year of Whips with Soulful Stitchers next year. Now, me personally, I'm not going to be participating because you're also required to have like a lot of whips that I don't have. So I showed you a lot of pieces. I have, 8 whips plus a couple like ornament size things on the go, and that's kind of like all I want. And I'm not really interested in, starting a bunch of stuff. All right, that's about all for me today. I have been reading and everything, but I think I'm going to do that as a separate video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will try to check in towards the end of the month and show you what I've gotten up to during the month of December. Ta-ta, be good.